Those spoken within AEW were of the belief. Now, this is gossip here from Fightful Gossip, but those spoken within AEW were of the belief that Malakai Black was finishing up with AEW if he hadn't already. They did not clarify if he'd be appearing on TV again. Dave Meltzer then followed this up, and he's like, well, we don't know if he is, but if he is, then and he isn't, and we said it, then you can't be mad at us because we just said what we're hearing, and people at AEW think he's leaving. So it's like, why would you report that? Imagine someone just with your livelihood like that. Not to sound lame, but Dave's just out there going, oh, well, if Malakai's mad at us for saying this, listen, actually, actually, but for real, he's just like, oh, if they're mad at us, that's what they think at AEW. Why would you say that? Imagine if he didn't know that either. And he's like, oh, they think I'm leaving, but I'm not. Imagine if he's not leaving and Dave just said that. It's just insane. But anyways, we'll roast Dave more later. But yeah, Malakai Black, some people are on him, of course, the usual suspects. He was great in WWE. It was just Vince's era of not pushing people properly. A bunch of guys he fumbled that Triple H brought back. Why wouldn't he bring Malakai's wives there, The Von Erichs have officially signed with AEW ROH. Via the Claw podcast / Fightful Gossip. So I don't know. I think the Claw podcast and the Von Erichs confirming it means more than Fightful's gossip. No, chat? Am I wrong on that? So either way, kind of cute that way that Wrestling Covers did that. But yes, they signed with AEW officially. So good for them. I mean, the Von Erich boys, good for that family. Here is Alfred Konuwa. Speaking of African NXT, the man who coined that term. If AEW's locker room was any more elderly, it would be a very old man who walks around naked at 24-hour fitness. Well, I'll let him tell you guys the rest. Shout out Pro Wrestling Bits, Alfred Konuwa. And I'm going to get him on the show again here, hopefully soon for you guys. But here we go. Here is Alfred Konuwa.
AEW turned 6 years old in 2020.
It's crazy it's 6, hey? It's crazy. It is 6 years goddamn old now. That is amazing, right? The better half of a decade on its way to 10 years. It'll last 10 for sure.
5. But after another baffling episode of Dynamite, AEW is 6 going on 60. AEW is fighting an uncool problem that they're highly unlikely to win. But if they're going to turn things around, they're not going to do it with aging wrestlers in the main event. So how then is AEW planning to combat its uncool problem? With aging wrestlers in the main event, duh! If AEW...
Who did he put in the thumbnail? Who's in the picture? Mox? And then Edge? And then who's that in the middle? I can't even tell. Is that Orange Cassidy?
Duh! If AEW's locker room was any more medieval, its top stars would be walking around with their dicks out like every old man at 24-hour fitness. AEW is so retired, and they just can't hide it. AEW Dynamite's new theme song is literally I'm So Excited by the Pointer Sisters, which came out in 1982. The promotion is also going to bring back Elton John's Saturday for its...
And that came on the radio in the car today? No pop.
B-show Collision, which came out in 1973. AEW Rampage is also imitating old people because now it's dead. Even if Rampage was still alive, its theme song would probably be all like, thank you for being friends. And let's drive this...
Yes, the Golden Girls, dude. That's for their women's show.
Joke into the ground with a...
No, I don't think...
live look at the AEW women's division.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't watch this before, I swear. God damn it. Of course, yeah, he nailed that.
Thank you for being a friend.
Tony Khan's assistant booker is 65-year-old Dave Meltzer, whose idea of cool is using imaginary stars to grade fake wrestling matches. Unfortunately, all the jests for men in the world doesn't change the fact that Dave Meltzer is an old... In other words, his hair has dye in it.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, the old podcasters. It's like, who are you talking about, Dave Meltzer?
And he just can't hide it. Okay.
So Malakai Black will reportedly become a free agent around February or March and is not expected to make any more AEW appearances before his contract expires. So this is what I mean. Like, what did he ever do?
You what?
To Tony Khan or anyone for him to have to not be featured on TV? instead of like building up an angle, having their trios like drop the belts or challenge the champions and, you know, anything like that. But without him putting anyone over, they just separated Julia Hart, separated Brody King, separated Buddy, and then Aleister Black's just going to leave with no explanation. And he's just going to sit home. That's some moving along here. Maria Kanellis. As things stand, Maria Kanellis Bennett's deal with AEW is set to expire at the end of January per Fightful Gossip. And yeah, so shout out Maria. Hopefully her husband can continue to keep his job and do whatever he's doing with Adam Cole there. You know, she's a legend, could go to WWE and make a little appearance or something. Not that I'm saying bring everyone in or she needs a spot or she should manage, but the Women's Rumble's coming up, you know, she could valet, maybe not even any of that. She could just be one of the legends that pops up at various events or something, you know, go on a Legends deal, get in the video games and stuff. That's what she should do, I think, right at this stage and juncture of her career. And Mike Bennett's a good hand, but he's just wrapped up in obscurity in AEW, unfortunately, which I have on the screen here waiting for Collision to start. Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada is planned for AEW All in Texas. Of course it is, Dave. Of course it is, bud. You think we didn't know that? Whatever. He's stooging it now before they can tell us on the TV show, which is so funny. It's so funny that, just like Konoha said, basically Tony Khan's assistant booker is Meltzer, but Meltzer doesn't, he still stooges their, but he's like texting Tony about storylines and shit. It's so stupid. Tony Khan needs to get his head out of his ass, you know? Anyways, so Venu Sports, the proposed virtual MVPD service from ESPN, Fox, and Warner Bros. Discovery will be discontinued. The collective decision by the three companies not to move forward with the contemplated joint venture is effective immediately. So they scrapped this thing, right? It was this sports joint venture thing, and AEW could have been a part of that. Could have been featured on this streaming, whatever the or it's a virtual MVPD service. So I don't know what that is. Sounds like police or something. I don't know. But I tweeted out, WBD is going bankrupt. DC Comics, if that Superman movie doesn't work, we'll never see a DC universe on screen again. They're shelving movies with John Cena and Batgirl. They shelved as well. They hit almost $10 billion from public investors. Analysts say the WBD merger is one of the worst flops in history. And Dave Meltzer expects us to believe in 3 years, AEW will make $555 million in profit from them. And I just don't know, dude. I just don't see that happening. Not that much. So, and Dave saying, oh, there's $3.6 million checks rolling it out. Which young buck did that cover to go to Japan? I told you guys earlier, AEW will be around for the next 10 years, or even they'll last another 4 for sure and hit that decade mark. I didn't say nothing about TBS or anything. I don't know. They might have to ditch and try their hand at something else eventually if this WBD folds or whatever. But they're just in trouble, man. WBD's in trouble. They're not making good business decisions. Zaslav's the and people wonder why we are weary of just believing whatever Meltzer's saying. A known liar. Speaking of Malachi Black, Julia Hart here with Denise Salcedo. Julia Hart gives her comments. She's asked directly about Malachi Black staying in AEW or whatever. And I think this response is utterly professional. Julia Hart, a solid athlete, needs work in the ring, great character work, understands what she's doing with these vignettes, really came into her own. A good wrestler, just not exceptional or anything like that, and has had some injury problems because of how they work in WWE. If NXT got their hands on her, she'd be the next Tiffy, you know, honestly. And I don't mean the same type of character, but the next huge prospect, homegrown, I feel like. But she's homegrown in AEW, so good for them. This would be someone I'd be pushing more. But either way, though, Malachi sort of took her under her wing. They're in House of Black. Just this response is so professional. She's wise beyond her years, and she gets it. So here we go.
There's a lot of reports out there right now in the news about Malachi Black.
And shout out Denise Salcedo as well. No, I don't want to take any credit from her either for asking the question. A lot of people give her, but she can get away with asking these questions, right? That other people wouldn't dare. Like the Bray Wyatt, I get it. It's distasteful or whatever in the time, but she can get away with doing that, you know? So let her get away with asking these questions because I like to hear the answers to them. I might not like how we got the answers, but anyways.
Probably no longer being with AEW. Obviously, nothing has been confirmed or official. However, Julia, I do want to get your thoughts on that. How you would feel if that was the situation, if that was the case, and having worked with Malakai Black so closely, how would that also impact what you, Brody, and Buddy have been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be okay, and whatever he decides to do with his career is his business, and I wish him all the best no matter what. He has been such a great rock for me, and I appreciate everything he's ever done with me, but also the rumors aren't confirmed or anything, so I don't know what exactly is going on. Anything could be happening. We don't know. So it's just matter of fact of
if Malachi doesn't come out and talk to everyone for assuming he's leaving, then we know he's actually leaving. But if he comes out and is like, everyone shut up, then we know he's staying.
Whatever happens, and I'm happy for him no matter what happens. And I think House of Black will be okay no matter what happens. I think I'll keep destroying the women's locker room. Brody and Buddy will destroy the men's locker room. Everything will be okay, and I am happy for everybody no matter what.
That's good. Get your ass to NXT. I'm just going to say it. Am I going to be the one to say it? So, Ref MJ from NJ, look, AEW's hiring. You too could get a job in AEW. Will Washington, come on down. So, yeah, dude, they're looking for a director of media and partnership sales to drive the growth of our sponsorship business. The role will focus on developing sponsorship sales across AEW's portfolio of assets. You guys should apply for that, no? Anyone in chat got a sales background? Help them out a bit. So, yeah, they're hiring. It's funny, though, because read the top of this. Founded by CEO, GM, and head of creative Tony Khan in 2019, AEW is offering an alternative to mainstream wrestling with a roster of world-class talent that is injecting new spirit, freshness, and energy. And then MJ from NJ points out, he's like, most companies, when they post jobs online, put the about company name at the bottom. AEW wants the very first thing the applicants see to be that Tony Khan is chief everything officer. That kind of tells you a lot about how AEW thinks about potential hires. It's so true, man. That's hilarious. So the mole says, okay, actual shots fired. It'll never happen. That's not a shock, I know. I'm pretty sure there would be a mass walkout. So this Dame Mega says, I would like to see you versus Tessa Blanchard after Jordan Grace is done with her. And then Deonna Purrazzo's like, nah. She's just like, oh, hell no. To the no. Moving along here, Jamie Hayter is set for an indie wrestling return for the first time since 2022. I know she's been injured, but the best listen, guys, Tony Khan. I call it, man. This is how it starts. Hayter said some shit about Punk. She's like, if you don't listen to Punk, you're a fool. Then she's unhappy with her booking because she comes back after being a women's champion and she's just being booked like losing to people. There you go. Has to go take a goddamn indie date. So that's all I'm saying, man. Notice the patterns. We'll chronicle this as we go. Here is a guy. Now, I don't know who this is. I can't see us. Oh, there it is. Wrong Wrestling. Okay. I'm going to find this and follow him because this is hilarious. And he's just mimicking Tony Khan. I have no idea who this dude is. Wrong Wrestling. Chat. If you know him, link us up. I don't know. He's just roasting Tony Khan here, like copying his faces.
Corey Lee with the Wrestling Observer. Now, there has been what I would consider a lot of chatter online, negativity in regard to and obviously you're just coming off a brand new television deal.
I know. That's what it is. Oh, is there? That's what I was doing on the street. Is it? Oh, is it? Really? Oh, we got a deal. Is it? It's the funniest ever. Sorry, this guy's cooking him, but that's how you know it's fake, because that was Tony trying to act normal as if it was a normal question, because it's overly insane, you know?
beyond Max. You can do all this stuff.
Smile again. Confused.
You're trying to combat a lot of
Take a weird drink.
that festers online, and it's basically done for almost
Negativity online?
Basically,
I've never seen them.
Maybe a little
what
bit.
you guys are doing when
That's the most interesting thing in the world, right? Tony's face. Oh, really? I've never pontificated that before.
guys are literally, you know, having rehearsed money, your best year that you've had since you're online, and you know,
This is so funny.
It's difficult. It's hard. It's hard to watch if you're a fan of AEW. In regards to, you know, and it's bad faith negativity as well.
What in the?
Damn it, that's so funny. And shout out Wrong Wrestling for baking his ass. So speaking of baking, Mercedes Moné has increased the ratings, I guess, a bit, has 4 belts now. There's, you know, a boost in viewership in other companies, I guess, other than AEW. And she's also mad. She's also angry. Okay. She calls out old guy podcasters, Meltzer, for mocking her vision of women's wrestling. We're going to get to that, but exclusive. Mercedes Moné's women's title win leads to immediate boost in Rev Pro on-demand subscribers. Okay? Now, we're not going to Dave Meltzer this, but according to Coataholic, Rev Pro, it's like a British thing, she got a boost in their subscribers. So apparently they think she's going to be making a bunch of Rev Pro dates. But either way, I guess shout out Rev Pro and good for them. But speaking of which, before her match where she won the 2, so I figured it out. I deciphered what it was. She has the New Japan Strong Women's title, and she has the Women's TBS title from AEW. And then the undisputed British Championship is the Rev Pro and that other belt, and Mina had both of them. So even though it said for the undisputed British Championship, and that sounds like it's one title, the undisputed championship is actually what you refer to the amalgamation. Like if you have both the Rev Pro title and this other women's title from the UK. So that's why she has 4 belts now. Okay. I deciphered the code here. Anyways, Mercedes Moné reveals she had a panic attack before Wrestle Dynasty when she wrestled Mina at the Tokyo Dome. I've had nerves and butterflies for all of my big matches. My match at the Tokyo Dome against Mina was somehow different. From the moment I landed in Japan, where I actually bawled my eyes out with both disbelief and gratitude, to the morning of the event, where I had an actual panic attack. Making a history was the last thing on my mind. Keva could see my condition on the bus ride and asked, "Are you nervous or just excited?" I replied, "Both. Truly, it was my lifelong dream to have a match at this level at the Tokyo Dome. So I was beyond excited. Along with the rich wrestling history, I feel as though in some strange way, Japan, like Mexico, is another home. Yet, for all of my joy, I was likewise petrified. I didn't want to let the promoters down. I didn't want to let the fans down. I didn't want to let Mina down. I especially didn't want to let Tony Khan or Jen Pepperman down. Just kidding. I added that part. I want New Japan and all promotions globally, for that matter, to know that we female athletes deserve a prominent recognition and a prominent place on the card. Ooh. So there you go. That's the Moné Meg. Yeah, that's her thoughts on her panic attack. No Rhea Ripley. No, I'm just joking. To compare the things are so stupid, but saw some people doing that. So Mercedes Moné isn't holding back. She's mad when it comes to critics in her Moné Maga newsletter. I'm sure chat is so mad. I'm going to look at chat in a minute. You guys are going to be like, what the Here we go. Whew. When I left WWE, the goal was to elevate women's wrestling and create more global opportunities. Many of the old Gaia podcasters mocked me for that, Mone wrote. She credited Tony Khan for supporting her mission, saying, shout out to Tony Khan, forgetting that supporting so many promotions and especially allowing Mia to do so. Despite criticism from figures like Eric Bischoff, Monet has remained focused on her goal of advancing women's wrestling worldwide. So old podcasters, then Ringside News just throw Bischoff in there. You what? Yeah, my thoughts on that. Let her try and do that. She's just going to do a belt collector thing. I hope she doesn't get injured again. Honestly, I'm not hoping that whatsoever because that would fuck up so much that she has going right now in different companies and like what they're projecting to do. So if I'm her, I just focus on staying healthy and let the other women worry about themselves. No, but really, that is what she's doing. Like otherwise, she'd tell Tony, no, Camille has to be here doing an angle. We got to work this out. If you're trying to elevate women's wrestling, you just let Camille off on an island to die out of nowhere. You took all that money and that's solid. Look at the women in NXT, you know? So she's trying to push women's wrestling globally. That's sweet. Good for her. And she does do that, you know? She is a name, but yeah, one day she'll be back in WWE. Ultimately, they always come back. And then all of this will sound like to the sickos, and they'll all be like, you didn't, whatever, unless Tony just pays her like tens of millions forever. Yeah, she did help elevate women's wrestling in WWE, though. You have to give her credit for that. But ultimately, her and Mina elevating, hopefully, you know, Mina was helping Stardom get some views. You know, they're better attendances lately or whatever. So shout her out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for AEW news as we continue to watch Big Bill versus Edge.